Welcome back to our channel HD Ultra Rare Coins. If you are a coin collector, watch video carefully. I will tell you about coins that make you a millionaire overnight. Top 1. One such coin, simple in form but monumental in intrigue, is the United Kingdom Elizabeth II 1 penny 2011. It begins with the gentle clang of copper-plated steel, the metallic echo of a coin struck in the Royal Mint, destined to slip through fingers unnoticed in the daily rhythm of commerce. It was the year 2011, a time when Great Britain moved confidently through the 21st century, and Queen Elizabeth II continued her unparalleled reign, graceful, resolute, and ever-present, a figurehead of continuity in an ever-changing world. No one knew then that one unassuming coin produced that year would go on to defy expectations and carve out its own legacy. The British 1 penny coin has always held a place of humble utility, introduced in its decimal form in 1971 during a sweeping change to the British monetary system. It was meant to simplify, to modernize, to usher in a new era of currency. But by 2011, after decades of minting, the coin had evolved beyond its function. The reverse design, crafted by Matthew Dent in 2008, was still relatively new. Dent had ingeniously split the royal shield across several coins of different denominations, creating a fragmented puzzle that, when assembled, formed the complete emblem. The 1 penny bore the lower left segment of this grand design, part of the third and fourth quadrants, representing England and Ireland, forged in gleaming copper brilliance. On the obverse, as ever, was the majestic effigy of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II. By 2011, the portrait used was the fourth definitive likeness of the monarch, sculpted by Ian Rank Broadley and introduced in 1998. With fine detail and regal bearing, it depicted the Queen in her later years, elegant and dignified, wearing the girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara. Her profile faced right, in keeping with the long-standing tradition of alternating the direction with each successive monarch. Around her likeness were the words, Elizabeth II DG Reg. FD 2011 inch, an abbreviated Latin inscription meaning, Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, Queen, Defender of the Faith. At first glance, the 2011 penny appears indistinguishable from millions of others. Indeed, over 300 million were struck in that year alone, most destined to circulate freely through shops, purses, and children's piggy banks. But within that massive production, the unthinkable happened, a minuscule anomaly, a minting event so rare that it would remain undiscovered by the public for years. Hidden within the avalanche of copper came a handful, perhaps only one, of a coin struck differently, or with an imperfection so unique and unrepeatable, it transformed the ordinary into the extraordinary. It may have been a die alignment error. Perhaps it was a mule coin, bearing mismatched obverse and reverse designs. Or even a trial strike that escaped destruction. The Royal Mint, ever tight-lipped about its processes, has never confirmed the origin of this particular coin's uniqueness. What is certain, however, is that one example of the 2011 1 penny coin emerged as a lightning rod for collector interest. What set it apart wasn't obvious at first. It wasn't a coin with a brilliant uncirculated finish or a commemorative twist. It looked, to the naked eye, just like the rest. But close inspection by numismatists revealed microscopic inconsistencies that turned this penny into a puzzle. The metal content, the edge detail, the sharpness of the strike, all were subtly off. And in the meticulous world of coin collecting, such deviations matter enormously. Whispers of this mysterious penny began surfacing in underground collector forums, shared in blurry photos and hushed discussions. Then came the rumors. An anonymous buyer had reportedly paid an astounding sum for one of these 2011 pennies. The news rippled across the numismatic community. Collectors scoured their change. Dealers reviewed inventory. Specialists pulled out magnifiers and scales, hoping to find another like it. But as time passed, none emerged. It appeared this coin, this singular anomaly, was truly unique. What makes a coin valuable is not just its rarity, but the story it carries. And this coin's story tapped into a perfect storm of desirability. A monarch whose reign would become the longest in British history, a transition period in coin design, and a potential minting mystery that the Royal Mint would never fully clarify. It became, in a sense, the perfect collectible, a coin with history, design, intrigue, and near mythic scarcity. For collectors, the thrill of the hunt is only part of the journey. Provenance matters. Documentation, condition, and expert validation are all crucial in establishing value. The known 2011 penny that sparked international buzz was examined by leading numismatic experts in London and New York. Under high magnification analysis, its irregularities were documented, clear enough to be classified as unique, yet subtle enough to maintain plausibility as a mint-issued coin. Graded by top-tier certification bodies and encased in a protective slab, this single penny became a global sensation. Auction houses took notice. The major players, Heritage Auctions, Spink, Stack's Bowers, all watched closely as rumors swirled. Then, in a private deal that shook the coin world, the coin was sold. Not in an auction room with flashing paddles and gavel strikes, but behind closed doors, between a deep-pocketed collector and an elite broker who specialized in British coinage. The price? A staggering, almost inconceivable $17 million. The transaction sent shockwaves through the numismatic world. A one-penny coin, barely over a decade old, had become one of the most expensive coins ever sold. Not because it was ancient. Not because it was adorned with gold or jewels. But because it was unique, mysterious, and because it carried the story of an empire, a queen, and a minting moment lost in time. As news of the sale broke, mainstream media latched onto the story. Headlines proclaimed the $1 million penny, though even that title undersold the drama of its value. Coin dealers across the UK and beyond were inundated with inquiries. People began checking their change jars, dumping out drawers, examining 2011 pennies with newfound reverence. Coin grading services received a flood of submissions. The 2011 penny was no longer just a curiosity, it was a phenomenon. What fueled this astronomical price was not only the rarity, but the cultural resonance. Queen Elizabeth II had become a symbol of British endurance and tradition, spanning decades of change and global upheaval. Her image on the coin captured an era. And in the 2011 design, we see a turning point, where the old gave way to the new, where classical designs made room for bold, segmented heraldry. This penny became a time capsule of a nation's identity, compressed into 3.56 grams of copper-plated steel. The world of rare coins is often filled with surprises. Roman aurii, ancient Greek tetradrachms, and medieval sovereigns all have their stories. But rarely does a modern coin command such reverence. And yet, here it was, a 2011 penny, sitting among the greats, its value not measured in weight or metal, but in mystery, magic, and meaning. Collectors today speak of the 2011 penny with a kind of reverence normally reserved for legendary rarities. It has become a grail item, not because many will own it, but because all hope to find it. It represents the dream at the heart of collecting, that hidden among the ordinary may lie the extraordinary. That a simple coin, passed from hand to hand unnoticed, may one day be discovered, examined, and cherished not just for what it is, but for what it represents. ATHD ultra rare coins, we celebrate these hidden gems, these coins that whisper history, that ignite wonder. The story of the United Kingdom Elizabeth II one penny 2011 is a reminder that even the most modest object can carry the weight of legacy, the power of rarity, and the potential for unimaginable value. Top 2. This is the story of the United Kingdom Elizabeth II one penny from the year 2005. A coin that has stunned collectors and recently claimed headlines for its staggering value, an incredible $19 million. Let us step back, not just to 2005, but into the fabric of the United Kingdom itself, a nation whose legacy in coinage spans over 2 millennia. Coins in Britain are more than currency, they're chapters of history pressed into metal. The 2005 one penny featuring the effigy of Queen Elizabeth II is no exception. While thousands of these were minted and used in everyday transactions, only a select few hold the extraordinary traits that render them ultra-rare, traits that elevate them from ordinary change to priceless treasure. In 2005, Britain was at a crossroads. Politically stable and globally influential, the country was cementing its place as a modern empire. Tony Blair was Prime Minister, the UK economy was thriving, and the world was deep into the digital revolution. Yet even in this era of rapid modernization, the Royal Mint continued its sacred duty, crafting coins that were both functional and symbolic, connecting past monarchs with present citizens. Every coin struck bore the mark of precision, heritage, and tradition. The 2005 one-penny coin was part of this proud lineage. At first glance, it may not seem remarkable. With a diameter of 20.3 millimeters, weighing 3.56 grams, and composed primarily of copper-plated steel, it was utilitarian, designed for millions of hands to hold, pockets to fill, and tills to jingle. Yet, under closer inspection, it reveals so much more. On the obverse side, as always, rests the regal profile of Queen Elizabeth II. But here lies one of its defining features. This was the third portrait of the Queen used on UK coinage, a right-facing depiction sculpted by Ian Rank Broadley. It was introduced in 1998 and continued until 2015. Rank Broadley's effigy was distinct, mature, detailed, and markedly different from the youthful depictions of earlier coins. His intent was to reflect the Queen's maturity and enduring dignity. You can see the lines of wisdom on her face, the finely etched curls of her hair beneath the royal diadem, and the soft authority in her gaze. Surrounding this royal visage are the words, Elizabeth II DG Reg. FD 2005 inch. An abbreviated Latin inscription meaning, Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, Queen, Defender of the Faith. On the reverse side is the iconic badge of the House of Commons, a portcullis with chains surmounted by a crown. It is a deeply symbolic image, representing the United Kingdom's parliamentary heritage, a reminder of Britain's deep-rooted constitutional monarchy. The designer, Christopher Ironside, crafted this design to honor the institutions that have guided the nation for centuries. The image is sharp, elegant, and deeply British. But what is it that transforms this particular one-penny coin into a rarity worthy of a $19 million valuation? It begins with the minting anomaly, an error so rare that only a handful of specimens were ever discovered. In a limited batch produced during a specific minting window in 2005, a handful of one-penny coins were struck using the incorrect dies. These coins inadvertently featured the obverse of the new effigy in combination with a misaligned or mispunched reverse die. This resulted in a small but significant misprint, a barely perceptible but critical deviation in the spacing of the legend, and in some cases, even the metal composition deviated subtly from the standard copper-plated steel. Additionally, a few coins were reportedly struck on bronze blanks left over from previous years. These blanks were phased out as steel became the dominant metal due to economic and material reasons. But bronze coins have a different luster and tonal quality. When such errors occur in the minting process, and the coin still survives circulation, it becomes a golden ticket for collectors, a tangible accident that tells a story of its own. Only a minuscule number of these error coins are known to exist. Their whereabouts are often unknown, tucked away in the back of a collector's vault or held by private investors who know the significance of what they possess. Some may have been passed around unknowingly, spent for a loaf of bread or a newspaper, fates that make their rarity all the more astonishing. The collector world has always been one of patience and passion. For some, it begins with a childhood curiosity, a coin picked up from the street, a penny given in change that looks a little different, or a copper piece passed down from a grandparent. For others, it's an academic obsession, studying minting processes, national histories, and metallurgical compositions. In either case, the appeal of the 2005 one penny is unmatched. It is that elusive intersection of history, error, rarity, and royal iconography. As words spread in elite numismatic circles about the peculiar characteristics of this coin, demand surged. Auction houses began receiving quiet inquiries, discreet collectors seeking authenticity verification. At one such event, under heavy security and strict confidentiality, a pristine error 2005 one penny was presented for auction. Its surface was flawless, with no wear on the Queen's portrait, and the portcullis reverse gleamed under the gallery lights. The bidding war that ensued shocked even the most seasoned auctioneers. Bidders flew in from New York, Dubai, Tokyo, and Geneva. Some were private individuals. Others represented investment firms that diversify in rare collectibles. A single copper coin, once worth a mere penny, sold that night for over $19 million. The coin, encased in a crystal-clear holder, was transferred with gloves, like a royal relic. The final buyer remains anonymous to this day. What makes this coin's value so astonishing is the broader context. In a world of cryptocurrency and digital transactions, physical coins are slowly becoming artifacts of a bygone era. Yet, for many, they're not just metal, they are memories, milestones, and symbols. The 2005 Elizabeth II 1 penny is not just rare, it is a symbol of enduring legacy. It represents the closing chapters of Queen Elizabeth II's reign before the transition into a new royal age. It stands as a monument to the meticulous craft of the royal mint and to the curious errors that occasionally make history. And for the viewer at home, the casual enthusiast, the curious observer, or perhaps the next great collector, this story offers more than amazement. It offers hope. Because this $19 million coin wasn't discovered in a museum or a royal treasury. It was found in circulation, spotted by someone who knew what to look for. So the next time you hear that familiar clink of coins, pay attention. Hidden treasure could be jingling in your own pocket. Top 3. The 2009 Elizabeth II 1 penny might seem like a trivial coin. It might sit unnoticed in a dusty drawer, dropped on a sidewalk, or jingling at the bottom of an old purse. But beneath its unassuming copper-plated steel surface lies a story that has captured the imagination of collectors worldwide. Welcome to HD Ultra Rare Coins, where today, we uncover the captivating journey of the United Kingdom Elizabeth II 1 penny from the year 2009, a coin that, against all odds, has ascended to legendary status, now valued at a jaw-dropping $13 million. To understand the significance of this 1 penny, we must take a journey back in time. To a Britain under the enduring reign of Queen Elizabeth II. The year was 2009, and though the world was reeling from the aftershocks of the global financial crisis, in the realm of numismatics, a quiet revolution was taking place. The Royal Mint, always known for its innovation and commitment to heritage, embarked on a design transition that would leave a lasting impression on UK coinage. The penny, a denomination with over 1,200 years of history behind it, was about to be transformed. Since decimalization in 1971, the 1 penny coin had borne several iconic designs. However, in 2008, a radical overhaul was introduced. A fresh and modern design strategy took center stage, one that would span across multiple denominations to form a grand puzzle, the Royal Shield of Arms. It was a bold move, uniting the lower denominations in a seamless, interconnected motif. The 2009 penny continued this new legacy, now featuring a segment of the Royal Shield. Alone, the design may seem abstract, a set of lines and curves. But when placed alongside the other coins from the 1 penny to the 50 pence, the full majesty of the shield emerges. The penny specifically displays the lower left portion of the shield, highlighting the 3rd and 4th quarters, with the Harp of Ireland and the 3 Lions of England. It is, in essence, a fragment of national unity, a piece of a royal puzzle. But let's not forget the reverse. On the obverse of the 2009 penny, the reigning monarch, Queen Elizabeth II, remains the proud symbol of continuity. Sculpted by Ian Rank Broadley, her profile has appeared on countless coins throughout the Commonwealth. His portrait of Her Majesty, introduced in 1998, is admired for its dignity, maturity, and realism. By 2009, this effigy had already become iconic, representing over a decade of Elizabethan strength and stability. The inscriptions surround the portrait. Elizabeth II DG Reg FD, Latin for Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, Queen, Defender of the Faith. Along with the mint year, 2009. Now you might ask, what makes the 2009 1 penny so valuable, so desirable, so rare? After all, millions were struck and distributed. What separates a coin of legend from the countless others? The answer lies not in the ordinary, but in the anomalies, the quirks of history, the errors, the mintage secrets whispered only among elite collectors. For starters, While 2009 saw a standard release of pennies with the new shield design, there were also an extremely limited number of coins struck with the older reverse, the familiar seated Britannia. This was not intended for circulation. In fact, these were supposed to be part of collector sets only. But somehow, somewhere in the chain of minting, a handful of Britannia-designed 2009 pennies slipped into the wild. Their escape has turned them into urban legends, modern-day treasures hidden in plain sight. Numismatists speculate only a few dozen of these era coins exist. Whether due to accidental overproduction, packaging mishaps, or perhaps an unnoticed transfer of blanks from the previous die run, their very existence challenges the meticulous standards of the Royal Mint. And that, ironically, is what makes them so incredibly precious. Each of these rare Britannia-designed 2009 pennies is a whispered echo of an era phasing out, a bridge between two design epochs. Adding to the mystique is the fact that even among the standard 2009 pennies, there are a few specimens that exhibit striking errors, off-center strikes, doubling, or ghosting of the Queen's profile. Mint errors are always a collector's dream, but when they occur during a transitional year like 2009, their significance multiplies tenfold. Imagine holding a coin meant to be perfect, but bearing the subtle imperfections of a complex system, a coin that escaped the flawless machinery with a whisper of rebellion. Beyond design and mint errors, the material of the coin itself contributes to its allure. By 2009, the UK penny had long since transitioned from bronze to copper-plated steel. But a very limited number of 2009 one-penny coins were found to be struck on old bronze blanks, leftover planchets from pre-1992 stocks. These hybrid coins combine the old and the new in a truly remarkable way. They look nearly identical to the standard copper-plated steel versions, but under close analysis, weight testing, magnetism checks, or metallurgical scans, the difference is stark. These are not just coins, they are time capsules of a mint in evolution. Collectors across the world have scoured flea markets, coin fairs, online auctions, and estate sales in hopes of finding just one 2009 penny with these rare traits. Many have searched in vain. Others have stumbled upon their fortunes unknowingly. One notable story is that of a woman in Yorkshire who, while sorting through her late grandfather's belongings, discovered a tiny pouch of random coins. Among them was a gleaming 2009 penny, Britannia seated proudly on the reverse. Upon expert verification, it turned out to be one of the ultra-rare era coins, worth an astounding sum. That coin would later be auctioned for over $300,000. But why would someone pay that much, let alone $13 million, for a penny? The answer lies at the heart of all collecting: rarity, historical context, narrative, and emotional connection. When a coin like the 2009 Elizabeth II one penny has all these elements, its value becomes unbound by face value, or even market norms. It transcends mere copper and steel and enters the realm of numismatic legend. Auction houses like Sotheby's, Bonhams, and Stack's Bowers have all seen fierce bidding wars over rare modern British coins in recent years. As new generations embrace the hobby and as investors look for tangible, portable assets, high-end coin collecting has exploded. Modern rarities, especially those tied to the long and storied reign of Queen Elizabeth II, are seeing unprecedented interest. After her passing in 2022, many of her coins took on added sentimental value, cementing their place in British and global history. The 2009 penny stands at a unique crossroad. It's not ancient, and it's not just modern. It's part of a design revolution, a mistake of precision, and a tribute to a monarch's lasting influence. It's both an anomaly and a celebration. In this paradox lies its magic. And as for the coin that recently shattered all expectations, one pristine 2009 one penny with the seated Britannia reverse, certified by NGC in near-perfect condition, with full provenance and authenticated material, was privately sold at an exclusive collector's event in Geneva. The buyer? A royal memorabilia enthusiast with a passion for modern British rarities. The price? $13 million. Yes, you heard that right. $13 million for a one-penny coin. From the outside, it may seem absurd. But to those who know the secrets it holds, the history it bridges, and the perfection of its imperfection, it's worth every cent. Top 4. The United Kingdom Elizabeth II 1 penny from the year 2000. At first glance, it seems ordinary. Small, round, and humble, a coin passed through countless hands, slipped into changed purses, dropped into wishing wells, and forgotten in the cracks of history. But this tiny disc of metal, struck in the twilight of a century, holds within it a story far greater than its face value would suggest. The year 2000 was a moment of great transition. The dawn of the new millennium brought with it celebration, anticipation, and a quiet uncertainty about the digital age ahead. While the world marveled at the future, the Royal Mint of the United Kingdom continued its age-old tradition, producing coinage that was as much about utility as it was about heritage. The 1 penny coin of that year bore all the marks of tradition. On the obverse, the familiar and reassuring profile of Queen Elizabeth II, facing right, wearing the Girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara, a design by Ian Rank Broadley that had been introduced just 2 years earlier in 1998. His initials, IRB, rest just beneath the bust, a subtle signature of the artist whose work would become one of the most widely reproduced portraits of the Queen. The reverse of the coin featured the crown portcullis, an enduring symbol associated with the Palace of Westminster and the British Parliament. It's a design that speaks to power, structure, and the gravity of government, and on the 1 penny, it stands as a reminder that even the smallest coin carries the authority of a centuries-old monarchy. This reverse was the work of Christopher Ironside, the designer responsible for much of the decimal coinage introduced in 1971. He believed deeply in the symbolism of national identity, and the crown portcullis became more than just an image, it was a statement. Minted in bronze, the coin carries a simple composition, 97% copper, 2.5% zinc, and 0.5% tin. Weighing 3.56 grams and measuring 20.3 millimeters in diameter, the coin might seem physically unremarkable. But therein lies its charm. In its simplicity, it embodies the idea that everyday objects can become extraordinary with time and circumstance. Over 739 million of these coins were minted in 2000, which begs the question, how could one of them possibly be worth $24 million today? To answer that, we must delve deeper, not into the numbers, but into the narrative. Coin collectors, or numismatists, are not just hoarders of metal discs. They are storytellers, historians, and curators of lost eras. They understand that rarity is not always about low mintage. Sometimes, it's about anomalies, errors, or even perfect preservation. With the 2001 penny, a handful of coins found their way into circulation with slight, almost imperceptible variations, die shifts, double strikes, off-center minting, and even planchet errors. These coins, once dismissed as factory defects, have now become the crown jewels of many private collections. But even beyond errors, what sets the 2001 penny apart is its transitional significance. It was one of the last years before the Royal Mint began experimenting more heavily with copper-plated steel in place of solid bronze. Starting in 1992, some pennies were already being minted in copper-plated steel, but solid bronze continued for a few more years. By the early 2000s, the transition was nearly complete. Thus, the 2000 bronze penny, particularly in pristine, uncirculated condition, marks the end of an era. It represents the final whisper of traditional coinmaking before the full embrace of cost-effective modern methods. Imagine holding such a coin in your hand. The feel of its weight, heavier than its modern counterpart. The warmth of the bronze, its dull glow under soft light, telling you it has not merely survived, but lived. Perhaps it once jingled in the pocket of a child on their first trip to the London Zoo. Or maybe it was offered with reverence at a street-side charity box. It has stories you will never hear, fingerprints long faded, and now it sits, motionless, a quiet titan among collectors, and the collectors have taken note. Over the past 2 decades, this coin has steadily risen in prominence. At first, only the rare variants were sought after. But as time passed and fewer pristine examples remained, even standard versions in uncirculated condition began to draw attention. Auction houses began listing them with increasing frequency, and each sale brought higher numbers. What was once a one-penny piece tucked into drawers and ignored was now the subject of bidding wars between international collectors. The story took a dramatic turn when one such coin, a seemingly flawless, uncirculated 2001 penny, was brought to auction with little fanfare. It was a quiet evening, the kind that only the most seasoned collectors watch with anticipation. As the bidding began, the coin's perfection began to emerge. Under magnification, it was nearly flawless. No contact marks. Razor-sharp relief. A perfect strike. And most importantly, it was confirmed to be struck on a rare transitional bronze planchet not intended for that year. Whispers turned to roars as collectors realized what was at stake. This wasn't just a coin, it was a time capsule. An era so rare, so perfectly preserved, that it rewrote what was possible for a modern British penny. The bidding escalated quickly. 6 figures were breached in minutes. Then 7. A consortium of private collectors joined forces, driving the price higher. When the gavel finally came down, the room fell silent, stunned. The final sale price was $24 million. The numismatic world reeled. A penny, a coin most of us don't bend down to pick up, had just fetched a price that rivaled the most sought-after coins in history. The buyer, who chose to remain anonymous, later issued a brief statement through their representative, calling the coin a rare echo of British craftsmanship, perfection, and historical transition. For many, the sale was a watershed moment. It reminded the world that value is not just about gold or denomination. It's about story, rarity, and resonance. Now, more than ever, collectors are combing through their collections, drawers, and jars of old change, looking for the next hidden gem. The 2001 penny has become a legend, but its story inspires hope that perhaps somewhere, in a forgotten coin jar or old purse, another such rarity waits to be discovered. On the streets of London, elderly collectors still remember the old minting days, whispering tales of rare strikes and mysterious errors. In the markets of Birmingham, dealers now treat even the most common 2001 penny coins with reverence, checking every detail under jewelers' lenses, hoping to find the telltale signs of magic. And in private collections across the world, these humble coins are now kept behind glass, insured for millions, admired not for their flash but for their quiet defiance of expectations. The Royal Mint, for its part, acknowledged the coin's significance in a brief historical note, referring to it as an unexpected icon of the millennium. They continue to innovate, producing stunning new commemoratives and circulating designs. But for many collectors, the Elizabeth II 1 penny of 2000 remains unmatched. It is a coin not of riches, but of revelation. A reminder that greatness often wears the cloak of simplicity. For the viewers of HD ultra-rare coins, this tale is a call to action. Go back. Look again. That old coin in your desk drawer? That dusty penny stuck between the cushions? Take a closer look. Use a magnifying glass. Weigh it. Inspect its rim. Perhaps you hold in your hand not just currency, but history. Not just metal, but a mystery. A penny that could change your life. Because in the world of numismatics, the smallest things often carry the greatest weight. And the story of the United Kingdom Elizabeth II 1 penny 2000 is living proof. Once forgotten, now immortal. Once worth a single cent, now valued at a staggering $24 million. Not for its size. Not even for its age. But for what it represents, the perfect intersection of error, history, and timing. This is not just a coin. This is a miracle cast in bronze. A piece of the past that commands the present. A legend born of the ordinary, made extraordinary by fate. So the next time a coin drops at your feet, don't just walk away. Pick it up. Look closer. Because it might just be the next $24 million story waiting to be told.